Honorable Minister Kedikilwe, like they say in your beautiful country, Dumela Ra, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, Mayor of Antwerp, Mr. Patrick Janssens, Vice Mayor, Mr. Van Kampenhout, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to the 2011 Antwerp Diamond Conference, and to those who have journeyed here today from afar, greetings from our beautiful city. It's our pleasure to be hosting you. An event such as this is a massive undertaking and brings together the collective talents and hard work of a large number of people, some of whom you will hear speaking today and tomorrow, and many others who have been toiling for months behind the scenes. And none of this would have been possible without the generous support. And here I would like to particularly mention the Antwerp Diamond Bank, ABN AMRO, Al Rossa, BHP Billiton, Rio Tinto, and HRD Antwerp. More than 50 years ago, the British Prime Minister, Harold Macmillan, coined the expression, the winds of change. At the time, he was speaking about an overwhelming force that was sweeping through Africa, bringing an end to colonial rule, as he said, whether we like it or not. Today, the winds of change are blowing strongly through the diamond industry, and the world that they leave behind them will be greatly different to the one that existed previously. This process of accelerated change in the diamond sector began more than a decade ago, but is not yet over. Our business today looks considerably different from the one we knew in the year 2000, and I guarantee you that the same will be true for the industry in the year 2020. It was another politician, US President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who said that neither a wise nor a brave man lies down on the tracks of history to wait for the train of the future to run over him. Sensible words indeed, but our mission in Antwerp today is not to avoid the future, and definitely not to be overwhelmed by it. We need to understand, embrace, and ultimately be empowered by the future. And that is what we will do at the 2011 Antwerp Diamond Conference. We will be looking closely at the oncoming train so that we may jump safely on board and ride along on its journey over the horizon. The tradition of the Antwerp Diamond Conference began in 2002 with the dream of organizing a gathering at which some of the keenest minds from both within and outside the diamond industry would consider the pressing issues facing the business. Right from the outset, it was declared that the conference should be a seminal event that will help set the industry's agenda. In that respect, the conferences have been remarkably successful. A great deal of issues that were raised for the first time at an Antwerp Diamond Conference later became standard catchphrases in the business. Antwerp Diamond Conferences have also had the privilege of being addressed by several of the highest level speakers ever to have appeared before an industry forum. We will maintain this tradition in 2011 as well. This evening, we will be addressed by the Honorable Colin Powell, who was the US Secretary of State, the National Security Advisor to President Reagan, and as a four-star general, was the chairman of the US Joint Chiefs of Staff. But this conference will be different to the Antwerp Diamond Conferences that preceded it, and I dare say different to any other industry conference held to date. In years gone by, these events focused primarily on the present. This year, we look towards the future. Our intention is to provide an improved insight on what our industry will look like, in what environment it will function, and how it should operate at the end of this decade. Summarized in its title is Diamonds 2020, A Window to the Future. Now, I realize that predicting the future is a tricky thing to do. And for those of you that spent last Saturday as if it were the last day before Judgment Day, forecasted for the 21st of May 2011, I'm glad that predictions turned out false. Otherwise, all our efforts to set up this conference would have been futile. So I understand those who are cautious about foretelling the future, but we are fortunate that there are aspects of our business which are constant. And by that I refer to factors that will be as valid in 2020 as they are today in 2011. The most obvious of these is our product, the diamond. This may sound obvious, but were I addressing an audience from the fashion industry or consumer electronics, the product itself will be considered a variable. True, there is an issue like synthetics or treated diamond, but still, we essentially know what our core product will be in the year 2020. Forecasting is a complicated and often imprecise discipline. We all have read about how the intelligence community was caught unaware by the wave of political unrest that is currently rolling over the Middle East. And what about the recent financial crisis? True, in retrospect, we can say that the writing was on the wall. It may have been, but we evidently did not know how to read it. In hindsight, they say, everyone has 2020 vision. In planning the 2011 conference, we decided to identify a number of quantifiable trends that were relatively certain would have an influence upon how our industry and the diamond jewelry market evolves over the coming few years. We requested from our speakers, each of whom is able to offer an expert opinion from his or her specific perspective to relate to these points. As I said earlier, when it comes to forecasting the future, we are fortunate to have a product that remains constant. But the diamond is not only, or is not the only, rock-solid factor in our business. For the past 500 years, Antwerp has been one as well. And if we have our way at AWDC, it will remain rock-solid for the next 500 years as well. So, if you think 2020 is a stretch, you ain't seen nothing yet. But despite our 500-year heritage at AWDC, we do not take our city's fortunate position as a fait accompli. Indeed, just as we are doing with Diamonds 2020 at this Antwerp Diamond Conference, we are about to launch a long-term strategic plan that, not so coincidentally, is called Antwerp 2020. The goal of the strategic plan is to realize our vision that Antwerp retains its leadership role as a world diamond center for the next 10 years and beyond. And we plan to do that by enhancing the critical mass that Antwerp already enjoys. The plan is multidimensional and rests on a number of pillars. One of the most important is the modernization of the diamond market, making use of modern technology to develop a transparent system of supply and demand which serves the interests of all the stakeholders in the pipeline, producers, dealers, jewelers, and consumers. The diamond business is inherently international, but it is our mission and belief that it should be led from Antwerp. I would note that while the diamond sector stands at the center of the plan, it's not the only interested party. The diamond business is a critically important component of the economy and the social fabric of our city, our region, and our country. For that reason, in formulating Antwerp 2020, we enlisted the help and support of the various representative governments in Antwerp, Flanders, and Belgium, as well as stakeholders from the financial and other sectors. A key element of that is that our industry's most important decision-making bodies will reside in Antwerp. And we already are making headway. Later today, at a ceremony in the Old City, the United Nations Institute for Training and Research will declare Antwerp as the center of excellence for corporate social responsibility education in the diamond and jewelry industries. It represents the culmination of many months of hard work involving UNITAR, the City of Antwerp, the governments of Flanders and Belgium, CIBJO, the Fonds voor Diamantnijverheid, HRD Antwerp, and AWDC. The body that will be set up is truly unique and will serve the interests of stakeholders in our business from around the world, but it is natural that it be headquartered in Antwerp. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a fascinating 2 days that I'm confident will assist all of us in charting a course for the future. A wise person once said that the only certainty in life is change. That is given. What I hope we achieve today and tomorrow is to understand those processes of change a little bit better. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, with your permission, I would now like to introduce the mayor of the most beautiful city in the world, Antwerp. Please welcome Mr. Patrick Janssens.